to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
You've done so much since the last time I've seen you in that seat. You've traveled all around, made some noise. Tell us about what you've been up to.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been speaking at CPAC. I've gone to a bunch of events at Mar-a-Lago. I got to meet the President Donald Trump. I've been campaigning up and down the state. I've got a very robust team now. I got the best people helping me make this happen. And the best part is the reception I'm getting everywhere I go. Every time people hear me, it's just growing and growing and growing. Even my radio program, I have America Matters, has been growing on the Salem Network and on the Answer Network. You can hear us all throughout the state and all across the country now. I mean, it's just been fantastic. And I grew a beard.
Yeah, no, that's a great show. Thank you for letting me co-host it one time with you or be on it. That was really fun. It's like you really are have such a reach. And you've been interviewed by some big people lately. Tell us about some of those interviews.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've done some interviews too. I mean, I had Del Bigtree and Dr. Robert Malone. I've done stuff with Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Obviously, I've had Sparkle Sujan on the show.
Yeah. And then, but whose show were you on recently? You were on a podcast.
Oh yeah, Adam Carolla. Duh. Yeah, of course.
There's so many things you get overwhelmed, but yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Like this is so surreal to be where I'm at doing this, and just seeing that this is going to happen. We are going to make California a place that is so viable for everybody and bring common sense and sanity back to it. And I'm just excited to be able to implement that for everybody.
And so now I think some of the things that I've heard is and what people don't realize, it's like you have a Central Valley business is what you have. So you really understand the Central Valley, the ag community, farmers, and that's really important that people know this is where your roots are basically.
I'm a chicken farmer by trade. I mean, just down the road there, 2020 East Street is where we were headquartered, Zacky Farms. That's where we processed our birds, and just down in Traver, that feed mill there next to Bravo Farms. My grandfather built that back in the 90s, and it was state of the art at the time. Only needed 2 people to operate it. I mean, we had ranches all over the place. I mean, one of our hatcheries was out there in Kerman, and I've worked at all these places, and we just ran out of business. But yeah, my ag background is here in California, in Fresno, and even in Stockton with our cook facility that we had. And I'm a chicken farmer and a turkey farmer. What can I say?
And what's crazy is that you always lived in LA, but you would come here and drive here every single week and work 5 days a week and then drive back.
That's just what you had to do.
Pretty much lives like here half the time.
Yeah, you can find me at the DoubleTree at Ventura and M. It's my home away from home.
And so what did you think about the Central Valley? I know you've always said great things about it.
Oh my God, if you're going to make it here, this is the place to do it. I mean, there's so many people, in LA have no idea how much wealth is here in the Central Valley. They have no concept of how the food that they get, at Erewhon or Ralph's or whatever, it gets there. And it comes from hardworking people here in the Valley. And the wealth that's generated out of here, we are the world's leading producer of almonds and avocados and strawberries and artichokes. And we lead the nation in dairy cattle and beef cattle. We have more peaches than Georgia, more oranges than Florida. We've got the most walnuts, the most table grapes, wine grapes, raisins. You name it. That's the reason California is the world's 5th largest economy, is because of agriculture.
Is there any other candidate that has any ag knowledge like you do?
Oh, no. Not even close.
And that's what's funny, because I think that you definitely represent the Valley because of your wealth. That's what we're always trying to fight for as farmers. We have a lot of problems with us losing our water and all kinds of things like that.
Well, that's happening right now. 7,000 farmers are being cut off from water because of Gavin Newsom and the environmental woke idiots out there that are they don't have any knowledge on how this actually impacts people. They don't care. They focus on, the salmon. trying to bring the salmon back, and they destroy dams on the Klamath River. And meanwhile, you have 110-year-old pear trees that are not going to get the water they need to not only produce the fruit, but to be able to be sustained and stay alive. And when farmers lose access to water like that, they lose their livelihood. And they don't have a choice because they're at the mercy of the government. Now, sure, they can go and spend tons of money trucking in water, but try doing that for several hundred acres. It's not that it's not feasible, it's financially destructive.
Yeah, you people can't stay in business.
Right, and then you have people that have been farming, on 50 acres, 100 acres, 250 acres, whatever, 5, 6, 7 generations, and they get ran out of business because of these policies that get pushed on them due to the poor mismanagement of the leadership that we have up in Sacramento. Because everything that they're doing is always reactionary. There's never a proactive stance on how we can actually improve the quality of life and improve and create abundance. Everything's a scarcity. We're running out of oil. We're running out of water. We're running out of all these different things. But we have the ability to create an abundance. And if we did and manage these resources properly, we could actually turn around and create net positive and net returns back to the state.
Well, that's well said. I mean, that's exactly what we need. We need someone fighting for all of that to happen. I know you actually have personal experience, which nobody else has. None of the candidates have, about what had happened to your family. Can you embellish a little bit about what had happened?
Well, I won't embellish. I'll certainly elaborate. Well, what happened is we just got choked out of existence. It's policies that are being dictated to us by Sacramento and D.C. I mean, mostly Sacramento for sure here in California, like the CARB, right? California Air Resources Board. We had our own fleet of trucks. We had over 70 trucks. And then CARB was put into effect. And all of a sudden we had to abide by all these different regulations. And there's a lot of cost into that because now you have to file all this paperwork and you have to have all this extra equipment put on your trucks, and then there's all this downtime for inspections that you have to pay for, and so it became financially disadvantageous for us. And so we had to go to a leasing company. So we sold the trucks, went to a leasing company because it was more expensive than what it was before, but it was cheaper than continuing to operate under the new rules. So we had to do that. And then with Obama passing the ethanol mandate, saying that 60% of the U.S. corn that was produced had to go to create ethanol. Well, the United States is responsible for 20% of the world's corn supply, so 12% of the entire globe's corn supply, instead of being able to feed livestock and humans, now has to go and make ethanol, which was horribly inefficient. And the price of corn went up by 450%.
It's wild.
Right? So you have these added costs. Then you have insurance going through the roof. You have utilities going through the roof. They shut down power plants, and they're increasing the cost of water because they're dumping it to the sea, or they're letting it flow out, like with the Merced bypass. And then in 2016, minimum wage jumps by 50%. Goes from $10 an hour to $15. And I'm competing on a global market. I'm competing with companies that produce in states like Georgia and Louisiana, where the minimum wage is $7.75 an hour.
Wow.
So what they can produce in the same amount of time, it costs them half as much. I'm at a disadvantage economically. And you talk about labor, it's 40% of your fixed costs in business, because you got variable costs and you got fixed costs. And 40% of your fixed cost is labor. And so it jumps by a huge number, like 50%. I'm trying to sell hot dogs and chicken and turkey to China and Hong Kong and Mexico and Canada. All of a sudden, I don't have a price point that is competitive, so I lose out on that market share. I can't sell my product to those companies and to those enterprises. What am I going to do? Raise my prices. But then I lose my competitive edge.
Exactly.
And it's in pennies per pound. I mean, that's with everything here in agriculture. It's pennies per pound. We do grow a lot, but small little differences have a very lasting effect.
And so I know that's a passion of yours. You said if you get elected, you really want to make sure that these local businesses sustain. Like, you had a bigger one, you want to make sure that what happened to you doesn't happen to anybody else. So what are some of those plans that you have intact for that?
Well, you have to lower the regulations here in California. I mean, look what Trump did. Every time they wanted to add something new, he said, you got to take 2 off. I think it was a great concept. And the taxes are out of control. The ability for people to create, I mean, there should be simplified ways for people to have access to the information that they need. I mean, our state website's a joke. It's outdated. We can update that. We can use AI to make things a lot easier. But again, lowering the taxes on business, incentivizing businesses to come back here, even with Hollywood, like tax credits, we need to really, if we're going to save Hollywood, we're going to need to use tax credits to bring them back. But it's about, again, having an abundance of water, because if we have an abundance of cheap water, well, that's going to be great for all our farmers. We get to grow more product. We don't have to rely on poisons like glyphosate that are known to cause cancer. You know, we can be the leading producer of organic product, not just for the country, but for the world. And we can set an example by creating an abundance of water here in California. Imagine cheap, organic, clean, healthy food for everybody. It's just about building out and being proactive with the water. There's so many things, making the hiring process easier for people, making sure that Americans are getting jobs, emphasizing on Californians and putting them first.
And I think it's really funny that the side that was really forcing us, like, you know, promoting like eat organic, eat organic, eat organic, kind of took away the power for us to grow organic.
Well, we can't because there's not enough
Right.
water. I mean, when you're having to cut back on your acreage because you're restricted on your water, like our farmers have been, it's 1.65 cubic feet per acre in a lot of areas. And when citrus needs 2.25 cubic feet per acre, well, you have to cut back on your trees. And it's not a switch that you turn on and off. It takes years for these trees to mature and be able to produce. I mean, almonds, 4.5 cubic feet per acre. So it's just not viable. So if you had an abundance of water, then the farmers don't need to go and buy these poisonous chemicals, and they can grow a lot more food, and it gets done for cheaper.
I think it's well said when you say it's not a switch you just turn on and off. I mean, these trees, you don't just become a farmer tomorrow and then become a farmer. These trees had to grow.
Right.
It took time. It's funny that we spent all that time doing that, and then just like that, everything gets turned around because of all of these new rules they implement.
Yeah, takes at least 5 years for them to become mature.
And then, yeah, they implement all this stuff. So you have a lot of great ideas. Tell us the more ideas that you have.
Where do we go? I mean,
Where do we go? The homelessness has been a really wild issue here, especially in the Valley.
I agree. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just in the major cities. I mean, you can find the homeless epidemic that we're experiencing throughout the entire state. And it's a mental health crisis, and is compounded by a drug epidemic, and it's exacerbated by a failed education system. And until we start addressing that as the root cause, we're never going to solve it. So that's what it is. We need to enforce our vagrancy laws. We have to have standing to remove them from inhabiting our public spaces the way they are. And we need to give them real help. This housing first thing is nonsense. You have to give these people the treatment and structure and the ability to get back into society with a job skill. And that's exactly what we're going to do with the Homeless to Home program I developed. So you get them off the street, you figure out what's wrong with them, provide the treatment, you get them in a situation where they are able to do of physical labor, trade skill, where they can then earn a living wage. You deduct the cost of their housing. You deduct the cost of their medical and treatment. They're not going to go into debt to this process. And then that money that's the remainder goes into an account they can't touch until they complete the program. And when they do, they've got a job skill. They're eligible for government-assisted housing. They've got money in the bank. They're clean and sober. They know how to manage their issues. And anybody who hires them coming out of the program gets a tax incentive for doing so. And the way the program is going to help pay for itself is the jobs that they'll do. Basic construction, where they can literally build the reservoirs that we need for my water abundance project. You give 10,000 people a shovel, they can dig a pretty big hole pretty quickly. They can also pour concrete. That's a reservoir. Rinse and repeat. Agriculture work, have them raise crops, maybe even work with livestock. We can then sell that, either if depending if it's for feedlot or for table grade consumption. Like, hopefully we can do the table grade consumption, because believe me, Erewhon shoppers will pay a big price for that. Feel good product with the organic, they'll be all over it. And that helps offset the expenditures. Sanitation, have them clean up our tourist traps, Hollywood Boulevard, the Wharf, Santa Monica, and even just how about our highways and our freeways in our neighborhoods and our parks? Clean it up. There's trash everywhere. And then, of course, wildfire prevention and basic firefighting, backburning, underbrush clearing, logging. These are all things that are going to save us money on the balance sheet elsewhere. This is how you make it. That's why everything I'm talking about, they're complementary and they have ways to be net positive revenue generators. Right now, the state relies wholly on our tax dollars and they're just draining us. I mean, think about it. We spend the most money on taxes here in California. We have the highest cost for a home in the state. The younger generations have given up on the possibility of home ownership in families because of the mismanagement, because everything's become unaffordable. The idea here is to mitigate our expenses from taxes by using the resources and tools available to us. And it's that simple.
How do you feel about that fact that everybody's leaving California?
It breaks my heart because my hockey teammates pack up and leave. I've lost wing partners and centermen and defensemen and goalies, and that's just my own selfish experience. But still, I mean, every time I go and talk to a crowd of people, I always ask them, have you or a family member or a friend thought about leaving, has left or is thinking about leaving the state of California? And it's always over 80% of the room. And it's heartbreaking. We've been seeing a mass exodus. But why would they stay here? You know, to live in Los Angeles, if you don't make $100,000 a year, you're probably sharing an apartment with 2 other people and you're barely making it by. You're not going out and enjoying yourself. You're not driving the car you want. You're not taking the vacation you always would like to. But with that kind of money, you can go move to greener pastures like Texas or Tennessee or Florida. And you can have a house and land and buy the toys you want and afford to take that vacation you deserve every year. But here in California, they can't do it. It just, again, it's leadership, it's overregulation, and it's the reactionary just way government works. I mean, we can't even get insured here anymore because of the absolute disgrace that we keep facing with these wildfires. Things that are 100% preventable.
100%, right?
100% preventable. But they don't care to be proactive. And again, this is part of my stuff I want to do for CAL FIRE. Build out these remote firefighting drone stations all throughout our forests. They detect smoke, they take off, they buzz over, and they extinguish the fire before it becomes this crazy blaze. And if they need to recharge, we have all our other equipment. We can invest in firefighting helicopters and the DC-10s and all that stuff. And we'll have all these reservoirs that were built by our homeless population that they can easily recharge and go and extinguish those flames with. But even better than that, we can then use the CAL FIRE resources and the tools that we invest in to send them elsewhere to bring money back into the state. Because when you see these DC-10s come in and drop the FOSS check, those aren't ours. And those other states and countries even that send them, it's not out of the kindness of their heart. It's because there's a financial incentive tied to it.
Of course.
So again, you have to find ways to create positive revenue streams. I mean, even in my family's business, we sold chicken litter. You know, the things that they live on and defecate on. Turns out it's really great manure. People love it. We'd find ways to sell the feathers and take it to rendering plants. Find different parts. I mean, hell, we were selling turkey paws to China. The feet,
Yeah.
Whatever. It would have just wound up in the trash, but we turned it into a net positive.
This is great. You have really good ideas. Right now, we have a really weird voting system. Everything's going really wacky with this election. What can we do? What can we do to support you and put you on a platform where everyone knows, like, hey, this is a guy that has the experience?
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, the best thing anybody can do is tell folks that, hey, I found the right guy. His name's Leo Zacky. Obviously, financial contributions are always welcome. I need the help. I'm doing it. I'm putting a lot of my skin in the game. I'm over $1 million into this because I believe in my plan. I believe in the state and I believe in the people and that they are ready for real change. I want to be able to bring that to them. I don't believe in the other candidates. That's why I'm in this race. If I did, I wouldn't do this. I don't need this job, So go to my website, leozacky.com, learn more about me. Go to my social media. I recommend Instagram. That's my personal favorite, at Leo S. Zacky. I mean, I'm posting stuff on there every day. I mean, you want to learn about what's going on, and you can always just reach out to me too. So happy to answer questions.
And then we can watch your show as well. Like,
of course. America Matters, we're doing that 5 days a week, so you can look out for that on Zacky Radio on YouTube and on Rumble. So.
And I know you're going to spend a lot more time here in the Central Valley. We have a lot of events lined up. And while you're here, you're doing some really cool stuff. Can you tell us about the event that you're doing tomorrow night?
Oh, well, tomorrow night is the Reagan dinner. Rob Schneider's going to be there. It's the Madera County GOP's event, so I'm excited to be at that. I'll get to get on stage a little bit there, so I'm excited. So hopefully you guys can still grab a ticket and go. And then we're going to the Castle Air Museum. I get to see the plane that they named after you. So that'll be cool.
Well, you're also going to be speaking to the public, and that's a great place for everyone to ask the questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, make sure you come down to Castle Air Museum Saturday. What was that, the 29th?
30th.
30th.
Yeah.
I'm on the road a lot.
You have event, and I know that you also have some stuff planned for September, October, like
the
fair and just different events where you can meet the community.
Oh, yeah, and I'll be down at the CAGOP's event in Orange County, and come to that, too. That's going to be a lot of fun. Going to have a casino night. Everybody loves it. We're going to have raffle giveaways every half hour. And then the top 3 with the most chips at the end of the night gets first, second, and third place.
That's really cool. I think you have so many cool things going on. That's why everyone has to follow you, especially because of all the stuff you're doing in the Valley, for the Valley. And I think that that's really great. I think sometimes people are like, well, he lives over there in LA, so does he really care about here?
This is the lifeblood of California. It runs right through the San Joaquin Valley. This is where it comes from. Don't get me wrong. The tech bros in Silicon Valley and all the movie stars and starlets there and people that make Hollywood, they're very important. But the money that is created here in the Central Valley, I mean, the millionaires out there that you have no idea because they got a pistachio orchard. You'd have no idea because everybody here in the Valley, for the most part, is pretty dang humble. But they're hardworking. They're hardworking people. They know what it's like to actually create with their hands. And I understand that because I've been a part of that. Well,
you actually pretty much lived here part-time for many years, for a few years in the past. And the only time I've seen any of the candidates spend any time in the Valley is now that they're trying to campaign.
Of course.
Nobody's actually lived here and spent that time here that you have.
Of course. Yeah, no, they don't get it. And they might pretend like they do, but they'll never actually understand what goes into actually creating food and having a business here in the Valley like that. I mean, even in restaurants, like my family's been involved in that, the difficulties that come with that. I want to streamline things for people. Like I mentioned before, the website, the state website, updating it, having like an AI, like a Grok, where people can say, oh, I want to start a business or a restaurant. And it tells you how you need to do it, gives you all the links to all the forms. You can fill it out online, submit it electronically, and then it says, oh, you screwed up here, here, and here, and then you can resubmit it. And then when you're approved, it just says, you've been approved, and this is the date the inspector's going to come out. Congratulations. See you then.
Oh, gosh, that's what I need. I hate filling out forms. So if something's telling me when I'm going to do something wrong, that'd be great.
And everything's so cost prohibitive, right?
Right.
And sometimes they lose the document.
Yeah, every time you have to go to somebody else, and then half the time that you're not even submitting the right stuff anyway. And you paid somebody else to do it.
Right, but the whole thing is about creating the ability for Californians to create their own independent wealth. I want to grow the middle class. I want people to be self-sufficient. No more of this, I'm dependent on the government for their handout. None of that. I believe in people. I believe in their ideas. I want them to be able to create them.
You want to utilize the best in everyone.
Of course, but they have to have the tools and they have to have the economic environment that provides that for them. So we're going to make sure that business taxes are slashed and people are able to keep the money that they work so damn hard for.
Well, you are very humble and you have funded a lot of your campaign yourself. So the best way is for you to get the word out there. Everyone get the word out there and you speak at different events. So if somebody wants to book you to come speak at their event or host a fundraiser for you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can just message us through the website or you can reach out to my manager, Deanne. She's amazing. I love her.
Is there an email or what?
Yeah, DEE@Zacky.gov.
And the website, of course.
LeoZacky.com.
Yeah, so we could just get a hold, and then you will come to pretty much any event where people want to host you.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Again, I don't need this job. I'm here for the people of California. I believe in this place. This is my home. I'm a fourth generation Californian. Family's been here for over 120 years. We were in business for 90 years. And it doesn't need to continue to be the laughingstock of the country. It doesn't need to be this financial pit. It doesn't need to be the most expensive place to live and buy gas. I mean, my God, we have so much oil here in California. They have fake buildings in Los Angeles. There's that much oil that they're pumping it out of the ground in LA, and obviously here in the Central Valley. I mean, you got places like Oildale. If we unlock the taps like I want to here in California, we can create over 100,000 jobs, real jobs, not temporary jobs. And we can bring in over $80 billion in revenue annually. State budget's about 220, and we keep going over it every year. We can bring money in to not only pay down the debt, which is over $3.5 trillion, but we can find ways to then not have to pay these astronomical taxes. I'd like to get rid of property tax. I personally think property tax is theft. What, you spend all this money, you buy a piece of property just to pay rent to the government? I'm not with that. And they have us all locked into it because it's about, it pays for public education here in California. Imagine if we could do that with our resources, with water. But by the way, you build out the water, you can then export it for profit because we get the lion's share of the Colorado River shed. So we can sell it to Mexico and Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Utah, Colorado. It's all ways of bringing in money. So between the water and the oil and the logging and the business-friendly environment, in the abundance of food that we can produce, all of a sudden you're going to see huge increases of net positive revenue to the state. And then you don't have to be taxed to death.
Well said. No, I really hope that you win.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll take that as an endorsement.
For sure. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Thank you for coming from LA and being here today.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, Sparkle. You're wonderful.
So it's so great to be here today.
I am happy to see you, Sparkle. I'm surprised you grabbed me here and said that you should want to talk to me because I didn't know. When I saw her, I thought, wait a minute, does she want to talk to me about politics or something like that? I didn't know. I'm not from New York. She's from California. We do have similar problems, though, so that is true.
We have a lot of similar problems.
We
Actually,
do.
It's pretty interesting.
Yes, if you look at like New York and California, I'll give you a couple things that are similar.
You got to tell our viewers who you are, though.
Oh, I'm Larry Sharpe, guys. How are you? Good to see you all.
And you ran for?
I ran for governor of New York twice, once in 2018 and once in 2022. I did. I may do it again. So if you guys want to go to LarrySharpe.com and give me money to do so, feel free to do so. But Californians, maybe you will. But anyway, I'm good looking, so that's a reason to give me money anyway. So yes, do that. But no, the similar problems we have is you are a state that's run by one party. We are a state run by one party. So that part's very similar. Second piece is there's a rural part of California that people don't really think about. When people think about California, they think only about LA, San Francisco, San Diego.
And we're all the beach. The whole state's a beach.
Yes, and New York is similar as everyone thinks only about New York City. So it's a similar situation. So we have our cities that are deep blue and the rest of the state that's red. You have a similar situation here in California where your cities are blue and then everything else is red. So
everything else, yeah, all the outskirts. It was so funny because when I spent a lot of time on Long Island and everything, I did get that feel of being in Fresno and these others.
Yes.
How the culture was very similar, very family oriented, very cool people.
Absolutely. So it's a very different way of looking at things, right? So the problem becomes, of course, if you don't have some form of localism, if you don't have some form of freedom when it comes to the states, you have a group of people who simply are never going to be represented ever. Ever, right? So in New York State, we're worse than you guys in this one. In New York State, a Republican has not won any statewide election in 23 years. So not senator, not governor, not AG,
wow.
Nothing in 23 years. And the state's just getting bluer. It's almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican now. There are actually more independents in New York State than are Republicans. In New York City, it's 6-1. 6-1 Democrat to Republican. Now you might say, well, Larry, I'm a Democrat. I love it. Okay, if you're a Democrat, good for you, I guess, but it's not fair either way. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it's not fair. And the second piece is, even in that kind of situation, if you are a Democrat, you still don't get what you want because they don't have to cater to you. They win no matter what.
So if you win no matter what, why are you going to put the effort in?
Yes, even if you're a Democrat, you don't get what you want. If you're a Republican, obviously you don't because Democrats win everything.
And that's a really good way of putting it.
Yes, either way, when there is no competition, the politicians will not do what you want. So people in New York, you would think, wait a minute, everyone in New York must be happy. Everyone in California must be happy because they're all Democrats
majority, yeah.
and they're all winning, right? No, we're still not happy. We're still begging for things like socialism and stuff like that because we're still not happy. Why? The lack of political competition makes the politicians do nothing, so no one's satisfied.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Libertarian Party? I think there's a lot of misconceptions
And they're all wrong. I'm kidding. So, no, the reality of it is, to be libertarian, and most people think about libertarians as either being crazy pot-smoking Republicans, right? That's one thing. Or they think of us as, Democrats who like guns, right? Or something like that, right? As they often think, something like that, right? But the reality of it is, you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want to be. The issue is, do you want government to force people to do what you want? If you do, you're not libertarian, right? So if you say to yourself, I'm very liberal and everyone should be liberal, liberalization is great. Okay, do you think government should impose that? If you go, oh yeah, of course, you're a Democrat. If you go, no, well, you're a libertarian. If you're very conservative, hey, everyone should be conservative, that's great. Okay, great, should government do it? And they go, well, no, government should do it. I should do it through my works, through my example, through my community to get people to be more conservative. Libertarian. The issue is, do you want to use government force to get what you want? That's the critical difference. So you find people who come to us from libertarian, from Republicans and Democrats. They come to us, but the issue is, are they trying to make the world a better place? My best example of this, in California, New York, is the person who wants to live in a rural community right or wrong? They're whoever they want to be. Policing in a rural community is very different than in a city. So why would you want to have similar rules for policing? Right? When you go to some rural areas, it's the cop. Right? You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
In some rural communities, you call the cop. New York City, there are 35,000 cops. There's a huge disparity there. So why would I want the rules to be the same?
Exactly.
They can't be. And the odds of me knowing my cop, knowing who he is in New York City, slim to none. In a rural area, I might be in the same, basketball team as him.
Right.
Right? We might both also be volunteer firefighters. I mean, who knows, right? We might, right? In smaller areas. So why would you?
The cop.
You call the cop. Yes.
Like living in the Andy Griffith days where it's like we have a sheriff and that's it. But it's true. I mean, that's people don't understand. We really.
Yes. So that's why I think the idea of localism is where libertarians shine. Libertarians don't say, my way is right. They say, my way is right for me. Your way is right for you. Right? So if you want to live in Fresno, live in Fresno. You want to live in LA, live in LA. I'm not mad at you for being in LA, but don't force the Fresno lifestyle on LA or the LA lifestyle on Fresno.
I agree. I say so. I think the biggest problem that we have is that we have like a two-party system. Like we said, we have a one-party system in ours, and so I think a lot of people probably are libertarians, but they won't be because they're like, well, they're never going to win, so why vote that way?
Well, the other thing is they're afraid, right? And I understand why. If I try to vote for a third party, and then the other guy wins, the other guy is not going to be good to me. The other guy is going to be aggressively against me. They're going to impose things that I don't want. So out of fear, I won't vote libertarian, even if I am libertarian, because I'm scared that the other guy is going to impose his will upon me. But it changed the entire system. The two-party system makes everything worse.
Right.
Because now my entire policy is I'm not that guy. Right? My policy is, so if I run as a Democrat, my policy is I'm not Republican. But what are you going to do? Oh, does it matter? My policy is I'm not Republican. But okay, but how are you going to help me? No, I'm not Republican. That's the whole thing. And the reverse, if you're a Republican running, you go, I'm not a Democrat. Yeah, but how are you going to make my life better? No, I'm just not a Democrat. That's the policy. And I'm not joking. If you look now, most politicians, they actually don't have policy teams. They have communication teams. Their goal isn't to create a better policy to make your life better. They don't care about that at all. Their goal is, how do I communicate how I'm not the other guy? So they have communications teams, not policy teams. But if you're a libertarian or even a green or any third party, you have to have policies. Because the second that someone looks at you and goes, you're libertarian? Well, what about this? They do that to you.
Right.
You have to have an answer. If you're a Democrat and I go, what about this? You go, I'm not a Republican. That's it. That's your and the press will accept that. People will accept that. They accept that as an answer. But if you're a third party, libertarian, green, forward, anything different, you cannot say I'm not the other. Society says, no. You have to prove yourself. But here's the worst part. People say, yeah, you third parties, you own everything. Okay, what policies have we ever put together in this country? No policy. If you're unhappy in America, it was either a Republican, a Democrat, or a combination that did it. It wasn't libertarians that did it.
Yeah, and that's for sure. I don't think anyone can argue with that.
Yes, but they do. They go, you libertarians, you're going to ruin things. Stuff's ruined now. Well, there's too much money in politics. Yeah, and libertarians aren't involved. You're right. And we're not involved, yes. So all the problems you're seeing, we didn't do. Right? Give us a chance to be corrupt first, right? Before you get mad at us, give us a chance to be corrupt. We're not. We're not. And in fact, the funny thing is most of us are ideologues. What I mean by that, it's going to be harder to bribe or convince a libertarian to do something bad. Not that we're not impervious. We're not impervious. We can be convinced, of course. We're still human beings. But if we wanted power, we wouldn't be libertarians. If we wanted power, we'd be Republicans and Democrats. Because that's where all the power is.
This guy sounds pretty smart.
He does. You're right. That guy's smart. Yes. So that's how you know that we are going to be harder to convert. Because the power is there for us to go to it, and we're not. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but what would you like to see happen? What would be something you would like to see happen?
Here's what I would like to see happen. I would like to see several things happen. Number one, I would like us to have a system to where it's easier to physically get on the ballot. Now, most people watching don't understand how this works. Governments control the ballot. That's unconstitutional, not supposed to be the way it works, but it does. So the government decides who gets on the ballot, how it's printed, when people see it, all those things. You should be able to vote for whoever you want, whenever you want, and if they're going to print ballots, make it very easy for more people to be on the ballot. Now, the problem with that is the two parties can't stand it, because if too many people start voting third party, it affects them.
Right.
So they want just two parties only. So they have rigged a system to where it's hard to get in the ballot. And I mean sometimes impossible. When I ran in 2022, they actually made a rule that you have to have 45,000 signatures. They might say, well, Larry, in a state of 18 million, it's not crazy. You're right. That's not a crazy amount of numbers. That's not crazy. But here's what is crazy. In 6 weeks, specifically in a group of 6 weeks, that they decide randomly when there are still snowstorms in New York State. That's unfair. Right. If you tell me 45,000 signatures, but you have 9 months, right? Go get them. If there's 45,000 New Yorkers who want you to run, you put you on a ballot. The number isn't crazy. It's 6 weeks when they tell you to.
Wow.
Yes, and if you don't do it, and not just that, there's specific rules, how you bind it, how you sign them. And if anything's wrong, it's off. In fact, this is a true story. Everyone calls Brooklyn, if you know about New York City, Brooklyn. Everyone does. The post office is Brooklyn, New York. But the official name of the county is Kings County. That's true. Most people don't even know.
I didn't even know that.
Yes, people that live in Brooklyn don't know that. If you put your address down and you put Brooklyn, not Kings County, that's an illegal signature.
No way.
100% true. I'm saying it publicly. It is absolutely part of New York State law.
So what's Nassau County?
Nassau County is Nassau. But yes, but for example, Staten Island is actually Richmond County. Manhattan is New York County.
But do they have to put their counties on, or just
Yes,
Brooklyn?
They have to put.
So
their
everybody
county.
does.
Everyone
that's
has
just
to.
An example.
Yes,
that is wow, and nobody knows that.
People don't know that. So then, if you're getting someone to go get signatures for you, all the signatures are now invalid.
Oh my God.
Yes,
that is really interesting.
And these are the rules that people don't know that make it impossible. That's why you don't get anybody else on the ballot. They always say, "Well, if you had more people on the ballot, it's impossible."
Wow.
I'll go another. This is actually happening in 2022. Again, this is if anyone cares, you can research my run. This actually happened. They went to court and they sued me to get me off the ballot. And one of the things they said is, Larry, you didn't do one of the specific rules they have, which is you have to have at least 500 signatures from every congressional district. So they make up all these random rules like that. Now you might go, Larry, is that really crazy? No, but here's the issue. During this time frame, New York State had to redistrict. In 2020, there was a census. 2022 were redistricting. And there was a fight in courts. True story, during 2020, there was a fight in courts. So there were no districts. Literally, I could not do it. Remember, I told you it wasn't 9 months. It's during that 6 week period.
Well, if there's no districts, couldn't it?
Thank you.
But if there's no districts, did it matter then? Because
yes.
there's no districts.
Oh no. The law says you must do so. There are no districts. I went to court and said I physically cannot. There are no districts. And the judge said, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The law says you must do so. There's no districts. I guess you can't be on the ballot then. That was it.
So how did other people get to be on the ballot?
Here's the thing: the Democrats, Republicans don't have to go through this. They are automatically on the ballot, which is utterly unconstitutional. This is my point.
Wow.
Otherwise, if you made everyone go through it, that's fair. I would agree with you. Democrats just get on. Republicans just get on because they're Democrats.
So there were only two parties on the ballot the
Correct.
whole time?
Yes.
That,
and in 2022 was the first time in over 80 years there was no independent candidates on the ballot in New York State. And in 2024, New York State was the only state that did not have any independent candidates for president on the ballot. None. Only state of all 50. None. They are literally blocking everyone out. So you ask what I want to change? That's what I want to change.
Wow. So you guys even have more issues than we do.
Yes. I at least want you to be able to vote for me. How about that? Am I asking so much?
No. That's
just, you can look at me and go, Larry, I don't like you. Vote for someone else. Okay. But let me be on the ballot. And you can choose you don't like me. Vote for somebody else. No worries. In 2018, when I ran, millions of New Yorkers did not vote for me. And the world didn't end. Nobody died. It was completely okay. You could choose. You can just say, I'm not the right guy for you. Okay. But why can't it be on the ballot? So if I'm going to change anything, it's that. Give people the actual choice. And the problem is, it doesn't hurt any individual. It only hurts political parties. Because what if you have a political party that begins to grow? Right? Libertarians, Greens, whoever, in a certain area begins to grow. Now, Democrats, Republicans have to actually have answers. And the best example I'll give you is, you may have heard a guy called Jimmy McMillan. Have you ever heard of him? In New York City, he ran a party called the Rent is Too Damn High Party. I'm not joking. The name of his party was the Rent is Too Damn High.
I love it.
Yes, and he used to wear a black suit, and he was a black guy with a white beard, and he was very. You could see him. He's like, you knew who he was when you saw him. Now, he was never going to win mayor. He was never going to become city council. He knew that. But the name of his party was the Rent's Too Damn High. And so whenever he got on the debate stage, you had to talk about the rent.
That's pretty funny.
Right? You could not ignore the rent when Jimmy McMillan was on the stage. The name of his party is the Rent's Too Damn High. He's going to talk about the rent. What does that mean? If you're a Democrat or Republican, you have to have an answer for that question. Without Jimmy on that stage, you can just go, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. When Jimmy's on that stage, you have to have an answer for the rent. And that's why third parties matter so much. And the best thing I'll give you recently was RFK Jr. RFK Jr. ran last year as an independent. Didn't win, obviously, didn't even finish the run. But when he dropped out and jumped on the Trump train, Trump wasn't talking about health before that. Trump wasn't talking about food before that. RFK Jr. running independent changed the Republican Party platform. That's the power of independent parties. Just the fact that he could be on the ballot scared Republicans into action. If you want better Republicans and better Democrats, you need strong third parties to push them to act. RFK Jr. is the perfect example of that. No, if you look at Trump's policies prior to RFK Jr., he was not talking about food, not talking about health at all. It wasn't part of his thing. There was no MAHA. There was no Make America Healthy Again. That wasn't a thing. RFK Jr. comes on board. Now there's that. This is why third parties are important and valuable, even if they don't win. So when someone goes, you're not going to win. Yeah, but we can move things.
I like that, because I was always wondering about it, why be in a party that's not going to win anyway. So that's well said. That you're trying to make some real change.
100%.
And you don't need to get the accolades, really, because you're not going to win.
Absolutely. And then the best part is, now I can say what I want to say. Why? I'm not going to win anyway.
It's pretty smart.
So I can say what I want to say anyway. But not just that. If I have good policies, they can absorb my policies. Okay, Larry, you keep talking. I want you to shut up. Great. I've got 3 policies. Pick up my policies. I'll shut up. Seriously. If I'm not going to win anyway, I just want change. If you do the change, I'll go home. Yeah, I'll go shut up.
You don't care who does it.
I got stuff to do with my life. But I'd like my state not to be the garbage dump that it often is.
So what are the 3 policies you want people
I have so many of them. LarrySharpe.com has all my policies. But if you want to go, if you're a policy wonk, if you're watching a policy wonk, if you are, head over to my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube page, and type in 8 hours. I literally did 8 hours straight, live, policy for New York State. I didn't take a bathroom break. I didn't eat. I did 8. It's there, and it's time-stamped for whatever policies you want. It's 8 hours. Go to my YouTube page.
So you hit on all of them?
I couldn't finish. I had more. I wasn't done. So you said 3. I have dozens of policies that I want to put into place. My state's broken, utterly broken. But the one thing that I got on Joe Rogan was because of one specific policy. And that was my trying to raise money for the MTA. Now, in New York City, we have a massive subway system, massive bus system, bridges, tunnels, all that good stuff. It's the largest city in the country, 8.5 million people in one city. So we raised tons of money to fix these things, right? But they're all broken. So I said, here's what we're going to do. New York City has at least a dozen valuable bridges and tunnels that people would love to lease. So we lease the naming rights, like we lease naming rights for stadiums, right? And I said, we can lease one of our bridges for easy $100 million a year. Now, you lease it for $100 million a year, and with that, they take care of maintenance. So we still inspect the bridge. We still make sure it's good. They have to fix it. $100 million, they get the name on the bridge. Right? Now, why would someone do that? Well, it's a bridge that over 1 million people cross every single day. It's also mentioned thousands of times on the radio with all traffic reports. Right? In a 16 million person metro area. The metro area is 16 million. So 60 million people in the metro area, they're going to get your name put there. And whenever you do movies, they always show the New York skyline. So now your logo's in all the movies. You get product placement. You get product placement. You get 1 million people every day. 16 million people mentioned 1,000 times at least during the day. Would you pay for it? Of course you would. When I brought the idea up, I had bankers calling me up saying, how long's the lease?
Wow.
Yeah, but I said 12 years. Front-loaded. 12 years front-loaded, so that in case you screw up and you lose it, we still get paid. So you front load the payments for 12 years. And that's how long it takes for Google Maps to change it over. People start calling it the thing, right? All that kind of good
time.
stuff. Yes,
and
overnight. Then and when you do that now, why do you need tolls? No need for tolls because I'm paying for maintenance. Tolls go away. There are bridges in New York City where it costs you $18 to go one way. $18 one way. Yes. Not just that. If you're a trucker, you're owner operator, you pay by the axle.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So you're paying $75 to cross the bridge. That goes away overnight. You just helped out individual commuters. You've just helped out truckers, owner-operators, and you're raising money that goes directly to making the subway cheaper. And you get better maintenance.
So what's the feedback you've gotten? You said a lot of people are on board. So what is some of the policymakers, some of the, what are they saying to you? What are
the policymakers? Shut up, Larry, we hate you. Because you can't grift. My policies don't allow you to grift. There's a reason why, and I'll give you another example in New York State, but you probably had it in California. New York State, we have the Buffalo Bills. They are the only football team that actually plays in New York State. We have 3 football teams, but 2 play in Jersey. The Jets and the Giants play in New Jersey. But Buffalo Bills actually play in New York State. They play in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So in Buffalo, they want to build a new stadium. You might say, okay, great. Let them go build a new stadium. Why do you care, right? Every single NFL owner, team owner, is a billionaire. Every single player is a millionaire.
Yeah.
Banks love loaning to billionaires and millionaires. That's their favorite thing to do. Well, that and incremental fees. They love fees too. But they love renting. They love giving money out to these people, right? Love it.
Right.
So could they finance their own stadium? Of course they could. But our governor said, I got you. Let me give you some money to do it. She's going to give me $800 million. Why? She said, to make sure the Buffalo Bills stay in Buffalo, blah, blah. It's a lie. It's a lie. If you know anything about Western New York loves Buffalo Bills. If you're anywhere in Rochester, Buffalo, Erie County, if you know New York State, that's the area, Western New York, I know my state very well, in that area, during the season, a greeting in the morning is, go Bills. That replaces good morning. That is how much they love the Bills. I'm not joking. You'll see an American flag and a Buffalo Bills flag outside people's homes. That's a real thing, right? They're not going anywhere. Why would she do it? Because that $800 million now, she controls who gets that money. She now is able to hand out jobs. She becomes a job giver. Gives her political power. So if I'm having money come in from other places other than taxation, if I'm having private companies fix the bridges, now the local people, the local politicians can't give out those jobs. They lose power, they lose money.
Right.
That's why they don't like it. Not because it doesn't work. It is obviously work. It's the issue. The goal isn't to work. The goal is to grift and to keep power.
Wow.
So if I do it myself as a politician, I get to decide, oh, you're my friend, here you get the contract here.
Right.
Right? And by the way, I'm gonna give you a contract that's worth $1 million. Please, throw 40 grand my way in my campaign funds.
Of course.
And that's legal. In
Yeah.
fact, in Cuomo, he would make a board. And it's legal for board members that he'd make official boards to donate to the campaign. So he'd make $800,000 per year just on board nominations. And again, legal. I think unethical, but totally legal. That's not a legal thing in New York State. You can do that. In New York State, by the way, it is legal for you to be a political consultant and a public servant. It's against the law federally. Federally, you can't do it. Statewide, yeah. New York State legalizes everything that's corrupt to make sure that's how it works. So that's the reason why. So they know that it's going to work. They love it, but then they can't grift.
Okay, so what can we do as a people? Like when we have these conventions that we're here right now doing that, what is the goal?
I think the goal, no matter what, is sadly, it's first awareness and then second votes. Right? Because remember, in politics, contracts don't matter. In politics, it's the mafia, it's the mob. Everything is run by leverage. And leverage is three things: votes, money, eyeballs. That's what leverage is in politics. Votes, money, eyeballs. If you have those three things, you can get stuff done. If you don't, you are irrelevant. You don't mean anything.
Right.
That's how it works. So we have to get more awareness so we get more eyeballs, and then eventually some more money and also votes. We need to build leverage within the party. That's the issue. If you have more leverage, you can get stuff done.
So when people like you, which a lot of people listening to you, have a big following, people like what you're saying, you are getting people to listen to you. What's one of the goals with that? Like, do people come and say, hey, yeah, we're to support you? Do they write to, who do they write to?
No.
How do they say, hey, we support?
The best way that anyone can help any politician, me included, but anyone running, to believe it or not, is going to be very simple. Support their social media. That may seem weird, but it does matter. The more likes, the more follows, the more comments they have, the more their reach goes. That's eyeballs. If they have eyeballs, then other people will respond, right? Bigger podcasts get bigger podcasts. Bigger shows get bigger shows. And that's mainstream or not mainstream. I know you're on TV, right? Well, doesn't it matter, your guest, if they have a huge social media following? It does make you think, maybe we want that guy, maybe we want her. It makes you think. It's normal. So if you have a larger social media footprint, mainstream media picks you up, TV picks you up, radio picks you up, and other podcasters pick you up. So the simplest way is to support their social media. That's the simplest way. Giving money is nice. Please give money if you can, but not everyone has money. Everyone can click a like button. Everyone can type a comment, right? If you've got cash, give cash if you can. Of course, we always need money, but everyone can click like. Everyone can comment. Everyone can share.
And I'm sure you have some celebrities that are kind of listening to you and like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
So what can they do? And people, these power could be like, hey, we need to get this guy on a platform and listen. Like,
I'm going to say the same thing. Any celebrities who are watching this who love me, and I hope there are many of them who do, get me on your friend's podcast. Get me on your friend's TV show. Get me on your friend's so-and-so.
So there's nothing we could really do with government and writing letters to like
no they don't listen to letters, they don't pay attention, it's irrelevant. No, the only thing that you can do is maybe show up to their office, and that's not easy because offices are often in capital cities and everyone lives in capital cities, so it becomes very challenging, right? The best thing you do is get people like me to talk. There are people who are like me in every state.
Yeah,
we will travel to the capital city, we will go out and do things, we will get out there and talk the talk. We want to be your mouthpiece. So give us the ability to platform so we can be your mouthpiece. So that's the best thing you can do as an individual, in my view. Show up to an event. Oh my God, if someone you care about is having an event, show up to their event. Physically put your butt in that chair, right? Because when the press shows up and some local guy is trying to fix something and two people are there, the press goes, a joke. I'm not going to cover this.
Oh, very true. It's everything. We can have power in numbers.
Yes.
So that's the goal. So that you're saying, show up to these things. Don't bother talking to anybody. Like
you can if you want to. It makes you feel good.
It's more.
It's not going to change anything. Right? Because again, they only care about three things: eyeballs, money, votes. So you show them going, I'm angry. They go, nice, right, and pet you on the head and send you out. They don't care. You didn't bring eyeballs, you didn't bring money, you didn't bring votes. They don't care. But now here comes some politician, Larry Sharpe or someone else pops up, and now he's getting eyeballs. Ooh, okay. He's getting votes. Remember, RFK Jr., he was polling at his highest at 19%. Now, generally speaking, whatever independents poll at, they get half. So that means he was probably going to pull 10%, 9% of the actual vote at his height. His average was around 12%, say half of that. He got 6% of the vote. 6% of the vote, that affects the election. 6% of that vote last year affects the election. Trump knew that, so did Harris. They knew that it affected the election. So therefore, he had leverage. That's why there's a Maha movement now. That's why he's in HHS. Now, if you don't like Maha, you don't like HHS, or do you like RFK Jr., great. Think about your guy there, your gal there.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't like him, okay. But if you like him, he did get impact. He got change. If you don't like his change, have your own person do exactly the same thing he did. Have your own person. You want your change that you want, have that person run independent, have that person do it, and they'll make impact.
So you've been running for, like you said, a couple different times. What changes have you seen just from running and what you've been doing and going on these podcasts? What have you seen?
I see several things. One, more and more people open to independence, which is a great thing. I love that. More and more open to independence is awesome. And the second thing I think I'm seeing here is you're finding people who aren't believing mainstream news immediately. They're looking for alternatives.
Oh, gosh, that's the number one.
Yes, they're looking for alternatives.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, yeah. Because people don't trust the Fox or CNN. They trust individuals, right? Sparkle, they listen to you and they go, I like Sparkle. I like her. I trust her. When she says something, I'm going to listen. When she's worried, I'm going to be worried because I trust her, not her title underneath, not the station she's attached to, right? That's not going to move me. I watch the station because Sparkle's on it, right? So when she says something, I start thinking, okay, maybe I need to be concerned. That's where we are now. And that can be good and bad.
It's hard to get real news. What do you do when you want real news? You just
I go through 3 or 4 or 5 different things. I do. I'm very lucky in one way, though. I do a lot of surfing, obviously. And I have multiple YouTube channels because YouTube will decide to make me a person. That does shift and only show me one thing. So I have to have multiple YouTube channels where I look for different things. Otherwise, the algorithm just makes one thing for me.
Right.
So I have to shift my algorithm.
Yeah.
But the other advantage I have is, since I'm popular in my own world, I'm a big fish in a small pond. Those people send me things constantly. Every day I'm getting texts, I'm getting DMs, I'm getting emails of, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see that? You see this? So I get a lot of people telling me things. So it helps me. And I have a team of people who also will, we have our weekly meeting where they say, here's the issue, here's the issue, here's the issue. So that'll happen. I also have policy calls, policy team meetings, which help me to fix policy issues. So I do a lot of work to make it happen.
But you don't know if you're going to run this next time.
I want to, but I have to really see if it makes sense. Because when you run for office, if you do a real job of it, you can't work. You have to stop working.
Exactly. That's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job. Yes, full-time job. And so I've got to be prepared to take off for over a year to run again. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So we'll see. LarrySharpe.com.
And where can we watch your podcast right now?
You can head on to The Sharpe Way on YouTube. That's the name of my podcast, The Sharpe Way, because there is only one way, The Sharpe Way.
And is that the main podcast you have? Because you have a few going on. So
I do.
Where do we get to hear what you think? Is that the one?
The main one is going to be The Sharpe Way.
Okay.
It is on Facebook, YouTube. I do it Instagram sometimes, but it goes away. It's not permanent. Twitter. So yeah, all those main things. I'm also on Getter, also a couple other spots. So you can go there if you want to. You can also just Google Larry Sharpe. You'll see all my stuff pop up all the time. All places I've been, you'll see it pop up. It's easy.
So what are the other podcasts you're in?
I do radio shows, local radio shows in Rochester and also Syracuse. So if you live in Rochester, Syracuse, you probably heard me on WYSL and WSYL, both of those. I'm on those two Mondays and Thursdays. So I do radio shows also.
And you interview a lot of people on the Sharpe Way or not really? I know you.
I'm here or there. Most of it's just me yapping.
But once in a while you get some guests.
I do. I get some guests on here or there. Most of them it's just me talking about what I feel is happening. It's a show on culture and politics, right? Some people think it's like a news show, but it's not really news. It's my commentary on culture and politics. And so people know who I am. I do it live. It's a live show. I produce about 10 hours of live content every single week. And I've been doing it for years. I started doing it probably in 2016 in that area, so many years. I'm on my 691st show.
Nice.
Of Sharpe Way. Plus, I've done other shows too on top of it. I got the idea actually from Mayor Giuliani, believe it or not. Mayor Giuliani of New York used to do a weekly show on Thursdays where he would just have call-in. People would call him from the city and talk to him about being mayor. So I copied him.
Have you met him?
I have once. Yes.
Does he like you?
It was like handshakes. Does he remember me? I mean, all the people shaking his
so
hand.
you guys never had the time. I wonder what he thinks about you and your...
I don't know. I mean, I met Trump once too, but it was, again, but this is before he was run president. He was actually on The Apprentice then, because I live in New York City. So his Trump Tower was about a block from my office. So I would go over there sometimes, and I saw him when he was running The Apprentice. So I met him once. He wouldn't remember me. It was a line of handshakes. Does any of these Republican or Democrat politicians, what have they said about you? Have you gotten any support from any of them, any of the locals? Here or there I do. Once in a while. Like Curtis Lee was running for mayor right now in New York City. I know him. And so, yeah, him and I are friends. I like him. So we get along well. He teases me. He calls me Mr. Libertarian whenever he sees me. Mr. Libertarian whenever he sees me. So
that's funny.
That's nice. So some of those guys, they know me. They like me. But, they know that right now with the way the city is, it's challenging for a Libertarian to even get in the ballot. So, yeah. And the current governor actually took some of my policy notes and used my talking points. Didn't do anything I'd said, but used policy notes. So I know their people watch me. Her people watch me. So, and they take some of my notes and they put it into her speeches. So that happens here or there. So yeah, independent people, if they're running independent, they will very often call me and ask. That's how I got into RFK Jr. helping RFK Jr. last year. Back when Tulsi Gabbard was considering running, that's why I was helping out when she was considering running. The guy from Overstock when he was going to be running. So all those people, I meet them because they know I know how to run independent.
So RFK endorse you if you run this time?
I don't think so. RFK he's Republican now. Well, he's not Republican, but he's with the Republican Party now, so he probably wouldn't. But maybe he would. I could always hope. I could always hope. Maybe he will. You never know.
And the last podcast that you were on, you mentioned it earlier in this interview. Who was it? It wasn't David. Who was the last podcast that you were on?
The last one I was on?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Or the one that
I go on podcasts probably every week. I go on a podcast or so. Someone's podcast all the time. Oh, the one I was talking about with the Bridges? That was Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but my favorite one I ever did was actually Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck and I are friends. I like Glenn. That was good interview because we were talking like friends. That was my favorite interview I did.
So what did Glenn Beck think of? What does he think of your policies?
He loves it. He ate it up. He thinks it's great.
So he'll endorse if you run.
He might, but he also was a heavy Trump supporter because what Glenn wants, I think most people know anyone who likes Glenn or knows Glenn, he wants change. And I think
most of us want change.
Yes, he saw me as a change maker in New York, but he also saw Trump as a change maker too. And that's why he got behind Trump. So he wants change. That's what he wants more than anything. So he knows the system's not working. And he's right, the system is not working.
What did Joe Rogan think about your policies?
He ate it up. He started it with saying, Larry, I like you. That's where he started. I'd never met him before. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I think all the things that you're saying, it's understandable. It's something that everybody wants. So it's really where it's okay, everyone likes you. Everybody wants these things. How do we get from point A to point B?
Well, the problem is you're again, I'll go back to it. Liking doesn't matter. Getting things done doesn't matter. What matters? Eyeballs, votes, money. That's it. What I think shocked me most about running for office is my understanding that people who are in charge don't care at all. They don't care what you think.
And I've seen that.
Yes, they don't care what you think. They don't care how you feel. They don't care if your life is better. They talk a good game, but they don't care. They care about three things: money, eyeballs, votes. That's it. So if you don't have that, you don't matter. And that sounds horrible.
I feel like you do have a lot of eyeballs.
I do. I just need more of them. I just need more of them, which is why when I ran, I was effective when I ran. I got ballot access for my party. Yes, I was effective because I had the eyeballs, right? I raised over $500,000 twice. That's a lot of money for a third party.
Is there anything you would change about your party?
Yes, 100% if I could. But it's a hard part. As I mentioned, if you are worried about power, you become a Republican or a Democrat.
Exactly.
Right?
I understand.
Yeah, so they're ideologues. And the problem with them being ideologues is sometimes their ideology blinds them. So I'll give you an example. If I were to say, hey, here's a way of, as I mentioned, raising money for the MTA without having to tax people, right? You can instead, and get rid of tolls. They would say, well, why don't you sell the bridges off? They would be angry at me because it doesn't go far enough. Instead of going, that's a good idea. Let's go there. Let's move there. Libertarians go, why do you sell the bridge off? Okay, because that's never going to happen in New York City. In New York City, the Democratic Party just nominated a socialist, and you tell me we're going to sell our bridges off. It's a fantasy. It's nowhere near possible. But could I get this plan? Yes. So why don't you let me get this plan, not yell at me and call me names within my own party? That's what I'd like to change.
So you think they're getting in their own way?
Always. But the problem is, though, again, they're ideologues. I understand it. I get it. But just that sometimes, here's what I would say. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you have to talk. It means you can talk if you want to.
Right.
Right? Second Amendment doesn't mean you have to own a gun. It means you can if you want to. So what I would say is, if you don't have anything nice to say, you can just say nothing. That's what I would like. They don't have to always virtue signal on every single thing. They can just go, Larry, good enough. I'm not going to say anything.
Have you always been a libertarian?
No, I wasn't a rebel. No. I was the kind of guy who voted for Ross Perot in the 90s and Nader. Yes, and Nader in the 2000s, like that, right? I did that a lot. I became a libertarian in 2012 when I heard Gary Johnson speak. So Gary Johnson moved me. He was a guy who was talking about actual, entrepreneurial stuff, real life stuff, and that moved me. So from then, I became a libertarian since 2012.
So you would never consider crossing over and being a Republican or a Democrat just to win?
No, not anymore, because you can't get anything done. If I thought I could make something happen, I'd consider it. I see what RFK Jr. did. RFK Jr. He's officially not a Republican, but he basically joined a Republican group because he wanted to get something done, and he's
I think
doing
we all
it.
know, that's what happened.
Yeah. So if I really believed I could make change, maybe. But the problem is I'd have to really believe it. I'd have to really believe it, and I don't. That'd have to be a very special politician that I have to really believe that if I made the change, I could actually make change. And I don't see that person in New York State at all.
I must say, being here, my experience, because it's the most I've ever spent with a group of libertarians, I do feel like there's so much authenticity. I don't feel like there's any
True.
BS. And do you think that's a big problem?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is for two reasons. One, sometimes we're so busy trying to be right that we turn people off. We turn them off, right? So someone will say, what about X? And we just want to scold them and be right. And we don't want to have any filter. And people are humans. We like filters sometimes, right? We like people to say nice things. We like it. We're humans. It feels good, right?
Right.
We want that. And sometimes we don't do that. So I'd rather us be a little bit nicer. That's what I'd rather. I'm sure you've seen that.
But overall, I'm having a great time. It's great.
Yes.
I'm really so happy this is what I wanted out
Yeah.
of this, honestly, when I was like, what do I want personally when I get married? I wanted my mind to be open, and I want to know more about the Libertarian Party, and that's what I'm really happy to. And a lot of my friends tell me that. They say, well, whatever you learn, come back and tell us. And now I have you, so...
I just did it for you.
Yeah, I like it better that way. I
There
don't
we
like
go.
the game of telephone. I'd rather you say in your own words
There we go.
everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on. And everybody has to follow you. So the best thing is Instagram.
Best thing probably is going to be the Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Those are the three.
Okay.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Those are the three.
Okay, so Instagram.
I'm on Instagram too. I'm on TikTok. I'm
And,
on all
and
the
it's your
things.
name all the way across the board. There's nobody else with your name. That's important.
But none of them as good looking as me. So you'll notice it immediately. None of them as good looking as me.
Well, thank
You're
you.
supposed to agree to that.
I agree. Well, I didn't look at all the other ones with your name. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
yet.
So maybe not. Okay, so maybe not. That's fair. You're an honest reporter. I like that. Very nice.
Well, that's why I identified so much with you guys. I was like, this is so great to be like I said, I love the authenticity of you guys. You guys are awesome. So
Excellent.
thank you so much for coming on my show. If I go to New York, I will hit you up.
Please. I'd love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.